tonight. Put on your favorite dress and let's drive into the night, into the light. Let's ride. Put on an old blue song. Let all our troubles be gone and drive. Feel like I've been a prisoner of my own design. I've been such a bad listener, but I hear you tonight. Let's drive into the night, into the light. Let's ride. Put on some old blue songs.
It's freeworld.fm. It's the chilluminatti. Mine's Jimmy. Stand by. From Santa Fe, bound for San Antone. Even though it's dark out here, I don't feel alone. Let's drive into the night, into the light. Let's ride.
Why don't you guide me? Why don't you promise?
I'm a one-way motorway. I'm a road that drives away, follows you back home. I'm a street light shining. I'm a white light blinding bright, burning off and on. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again. I'm a new day rising. I'm a brand new sky to hang the stars upon tonight. I'm a little divided. Do I stay or run away? Leave it all behind. It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time again.
It's Saturday night, Free World FM.
It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again.
Rock and Rio. Are you there?
Hello.
Epic Journeyman. Are you there?
I'm here. I had to find my mouse.
Excellent. This jam kicks ass, doesn't it? This makes you feel like kicking back, celebrating.
Homeboys cruising down the street in the low-riding limousine. It's a funky.
You gonna eat the worm? Epic Journey.
I'll get down to it probably.
Damn.
You know,
You remember the worm? Remember back in the day
the
when
whole
you...
thing with Cinco de Mayo, right? I mean, in Southern California, growing up in San Diego in particular, that's a big deal, you know.
I know.
I mean, no, you were living there, and it's like a huge thing.
I know.
And I look forward to it. Over here in Maui, not so much, right?
Well, what is it? Mexican Independence Day. It's the day of. I mean, what is the celebration?
They declare themselves a nation, I believe, is the situation. I'm not even sure.
Rock and
Didn't
roll.
really matter to people living in San Diego at the time or anywhere else in California. They just enjoyed the food and the excuse to drink margaritas, right? I mean, that's pretty much what it was. But I'll tell you, like man, you guys, we all told you to get yourself a food truck selling Mexican food here in Hawaii and you make a killing. Somebody took us up on it, man.
Get out.
Yep, it started one food truck. It's called Las Salidas, and it's like authentic Mexican food over by the airport, by
They're
Costco. They opened up another one in Lahaina, another one in Kihei. They're rocking it, man.
See?
Killing it.
I wonder how many
love Mexican food.
Dude, I wonder how many millionaires have been made by listening to this show, taking ideas.
You, man. Totally.
Someday I'll be at the gas station like that movie, The Nerd. Be at that gas station.
Right.
Hey, are you Jimmy? Yeah. Remember that night on the show when you talked about those disposable pants? Here's a check for $1 million. I took you up on it. I made those pants, and now, I don't know. Well, good doggies in the chat, eyes in the chat, Karen's in the chat, David's in the chat. Woohoo! Amber too is in the chat. Penelope's in the chat, Mike's in the chat, Chris is in the chat, Spence is in the chat, S90's in the chat, Zero's in the chat. Everybody's over there. Come on down, get acquainted, have a good time. Cinco de Mayo, man. So now, have you stopped over at the Mexican food truck?
I've gone to both of them now. Yeah, well, there's 3 of them now. There was one just by the airport. I'd make a special trip over there every time I was in the neighborhood just to go there because it's that good, right? Because it's like the real authentic food, right? And then, which you haven't had here anywhere in the islands, I'm telling you, for years, for at least 7 years that I know of, right? And then, they opened up another one here in Lahaina, which is fantastic. Well, what's left of Lahaina, there's not really Lahaina. There's like a street going to the highway where Lahaina used to be, and there's stuff on that street. And it's off that street. But yeah, it's fantastic, man. I can't tell you how much I missed it. It's one of the things I miss. When I go to California, when I go on vacation,
first thing you do is go get some tacos.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's like this is a highlight of my trip.
I know. Well, hey man, that was a hell of a show last night. It almost
quite the discussion.
It almost seemed like the microcosm of yesteryear.
Yeah, it did. Kind of dug deep last night.
Yeah. Well, it was nice, kind of give me some incentive, making me feel like, maybe next week now we got to do an even better show than it was.
Right, pushing us, right? Got to do better. Got to keep it up.
Yeah, I'm even thinking maybe we should talk a little bit next week before the show.
Well, we used to. We used to try to get. We still do try to get guests, but the thing is, like, getting guests.
I haven't been trying to book any guests for over a year. I haven't reached out to anybody. So, I mean, we can, but I mean, when
I'm reaching
Bruce,
out to Thomas, we'll see if he comes on.
When we were a 4-piece, though, it was kind of hard to have a guest because there's 4 of us already plus a guest, and then everybody here already has their own mindset or whatever, so it's not like when a guest comes on they just come on here and make some presentation and move on. It's a discussion. So
yeah, like we wouldn't be able to do like Zoltan is fun again with 4 people.
That's what I mean. So I mean now that Bruce is taking a vacay or whatever, kicking back or whatever he's doing, we'll pop some guests in here. I was thinking about getting the Doc on, talk to him about some stuff that's happening. So
Doc was active on Twitter, right? Talking about an interview we did with John Brisson, our friend John Brisson. So
nice.
He's out there.
Sweet. I'm glad he talked to John. So that's good.
He used to talk to us quite a bit. We just haven't. I don't know what happened. We haven't talked to him in a while.
Who, John?
Yeah. Well, both John and Kevin McCarran.
Well, I talked to Kevin McCarran. I just don't talk about it on the show.
Right. Yeah.
But I haven't asked him to come on. Because he was doing his thing or whatever. So one thing leads to another. It's late night, Friday night, so he, it's Japan time or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, he'd definitely come on if I asked him. So I just haven't asked him because, like I said, we've been rolling deep, knee deep. Plus, there's other people on here too, like S90. He's there somewhere. I saw him. I don't know if he wants to join us or not.
He's in the chat. I saw him.
Obviously, he's welcome. But no, it was a good show last night.
It's a topic that hasn't been talked about in a long time on any form of media, really. used to be talked about a lot in the 70s and 80s, right? The idea of a generation gap, right? And how that played into society. But it's a huge deal right now. Like it's bigger than it's ever been. And nobody's talking about it, really. Nobody.
No. Well,
and it's right there in our face. Right?
And it's funny, too, because last night I said, watch these college protests against Israel start to take off like in the 70s when it was worldwide. And the first thing I saw this morning when I woke up is more protests worldwide in Germany and some other places. So it looks like it is catching fire, just like the 70s. The protest, the war protest. Except now it's not going to be it's about that war. You know what I mean?
It's Netanyahu's the new Nixon, right? I mean, Netanyahu's Nixon over there. I mean, it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's like repeating history again. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I mean, how? I mean, how did Israel mess
Palestine is the new Vietnam, dude.
Yeah.
And the hipsters are the new hippies.
This seems impossible to mess up, and he did. Like, Netanyahu totally screwed the pooch on this. Well, how in the world did you go from having an obvious world on your side event where, they slaughtered your people on the border, killed them in the what do you call it? Doesn't matter. The kibbutzes, right? And obviously the aggressor is Hamas, right? How did you turn the world against you? How did you possibly do that? Why? Because you did a genocide. What the hell? Right? What the hell? How could you screw that up? Yeah. Somehow he found a way, man. And the world's in this weird place now where, what do you do?
No.
You can't let them just starve people out, man. You can't do that. That's not ethical in any way.
I remember the last time shit happened, and there was a flotilla that came in, and there was a bunch of people that were murdered when they were trying to bring in some food. They got attacked by this group of ninjas dressed in black with machine guns. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But anyway, man, I mean, obviously, it's just the issue of the moment for the younger people, for whatever reason. And it may be an opposite reaction to, what normal behavior would be in a situation like this. In other words, your parents are going, your parents are not finding there to be a Palestinian viewpoint, that there's only one viewpoint, and that's the viewpoint that's been put forward for so many years around this issue.
Well, in one way, part of me is glad that the young people are taking up a cause. This just isn't the right one, right? It's like they forgot what started. It'd be like almost if you were supporting, and I was there in Iraq, right? So
isn't it like directly. Ultimately,
like you're supporting Iraq? Okay, well that's great. Okay, but you're not supporting Al Qaeda, are you? This is kind of what they're doing. They're going like Al Qaeda was never really in Iraq. There's Al Qaeda in Iraq that came on later. Right, but it wasn't there when I got there. It wasn't there when we invaded. We were wrong going to Iraq. They should have demonstrated then, right? But there was this will for it, I guess. They bamboozled people into believing Iraq had something to do with 9/11. They had nothing to do with 9/11 at all, right? But in this case, like Hamas is the bad guy. Hamas is the bad guy in this equation. There's no question about that. They are the Al Qaeda. They are the people who attacked the Twin Towers in this analogy, right? Why are you supporting them along with the Palestinians? Now, I'm sure the Palestinians don't want that kind of love. You know what I mean? Like they want to be separate from the people that have been,
well, it's like in Vietnam, you didn't know who the enemy was, man. The North Vietnamese looked the same as the other people. You couldn't tell who the enemy was, man. Who's the enemy? Which Palestinian is not a Hamas and which Hamas is not a Palestinian, or they're all Hamas as Palestinians. Or, who created Hamas?
There's an ideology in the far right of the Israeli cabinet who wants to just kill them all. That's not a joke. It's not a exaggeration. Their idea is just to kill everybody there. That's a fact. So until that goes away, this war will never be over. I mean, the problem is this. We talk about this conflict. It's a long running conflict. It goes way beyond this, right? It goes back thousands of years. But until this gets resolved, like that, the other side's the enemy. These brothers, these half brothers, right? These races of half brothers, right? I mean, the descendants of Abraham, of Ishmael, or the descendants of, Isaac, right? I mean, that's what this is. It's a dispute over the will.
I don't think
the territory left by their forefathers.
I don't think we need to think about it though. That's the thing. Is why is it even in my field of vision? Why is there even a concern on my plate about this issue? In other words, what people's religious issues are between those people. In other words, I don't have issues with anybody, so why am I getting sucked into it? And why is America and everybody else getting sucked into people's problems? In other words, if you got
100 years ago, it wouldn't have.
If you got a
100
beef,
years ago, mass media didn't exist.
if you
It's
got a
going to go viral and affect everybody.
if you got a beef with your neighbor, why is the whole neighborhood got to get involved? You know what I mean? It's between you and your smart ass neighbor. You know what I mean?
Isn't that the weird theme that's developing out of this? Is the world being interconnected the way it is, trying to build this Star Trek kind of future, that the idealistic idea of how it can be, right? The first thing you have to do is iron out these kind of things. If everybody knows everything and the world's your neighborhood, the Earth is your neighborhood, not just your local neighborhood. Well, you have to solve these global problems, don't you? We're not
Well,
really
that's the
mature
thing.
enough as a race to do that yet.
That's the thing.
No,
Is
we
there's
are.
got to
Can't
be
do
a baseline. Okay, so what is the baseline? So let's say there's gas and oil over there in the Gaza Strip. Let's say there's natural gas over there, like we talked about. Some of the first people to even bring it up when this started. But let's say there is, but it benefits everybody that there is. So why wouldn't there be some sort of I don't even want to say an organization, but why shouldn't there be some infrastructure thing that goes on, has nothing to do with the people that live there? In other words, it's for the world, not necessarily for you. In other words, the oil that Saudi Arabia has, it's so we can run the world. It's not, they don't own it. They just happen to be sitting on top of it. You know what I mean? But why not put infrastructure into get it out of the earth and turn it into something that we can use, and then using that for, to fuel the building of our societies. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
it's
there's
this
a good side of globalism, right?
Right,
We
it's-
cooperate to make everything good for everybody.
Right. It's
If
like
we
we were
did
talking.
that, the world would be a great place.
Right. It's like we were talking about last night. How about if we own everything and want nothing? In other words,
Yeah.
it's in everybody's best interest to have good roads, good infrastructure, fast internet, all this. There should just be a team of people going around installing that shit everywhere. They're not beholden to any specific government or anything like this. They just come in. Hey, you got gold or whatever, Hey, you got oil. You know what I mean?
Africa is a prime example, right? Africa gets screwed over by everybody world over. They're just ignored by the entire world, right? Essentially, and get exploited for the resources. And it's a horrible place in most of those countries, man. Most of those countries are horrible, among the worst places in the world to live.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head. It's exploitation because it's greed and corruption. That's the whole reason it doesn't work.
So isn't there some concept or some idea of something called the commons? I mean, didn't we bring up something called the commons? Isn't the ocean is something that's called the commons? It means it belongs to everybody.
So you have your reach 12-mile limit, right? And that's it. And beyond that, it's international waters and it belongs to
It's
everybody.
the commons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about?
No, it's called the commons, but I mean, it's international. Nobody owns it, right?
But
It's
what's
just
her
global-
face?
global term.
Epstein's wife had this foundation that she started, and we played some of the audio from her describing it, and she called it the commons.
His girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine,
her
yeah.
Oceans.
So they called it the commons. And so what I'm thinking is, so I mean, and so this, see, if you even talk about this, you'll immediately get branded a communist to say that, resources around the world belong to the world, or they belong to world people, the citizens of the world. These things should be extracted for the betterment of our society, to propel us forward, to move us in a direction. And not be exploited for profit, but to be taken and used, as tools or materials for propelling our society forward. That it's just common to everybody. Nobody gets to capitalize on it. Nobody gets to make money off of it. It's just there for us to use, And then beyond that, there's ways to make profit. But I mean, when you're living in a society like that, would anyone even care about making profit at that point? I mean, if we're all walking around in nice, white robes or whatever,
The problem is without profit as a motivation, nobody would want to put the effort in.
I don't know if that's true though. I mean, I used to think that too. Like I used to think that probably the problem is that people are inherently lazy, right? And if you give them everything they want, they just won't do anything. But actually, I think from like a lot of us during the pandemic, in my case, I was lucky I wasn't unemployed during that time. I was employed because I have an infrastructure job. But for people who were, they just were eager to get back to work, right? After you get off work for so long, you don't have anything else to do. You actually kind of miss having the purpose of doing something. And so I think what would actually happen is if you can, there's a sociological idea here about people being committed, that word from last night, right? Committed to making a better future for everyone and being part of it, right? That people do want to do things that are positive, that influence things positively in the world. And I think the reason they don't have that idea and that mindset all the time now is because people exploit them. Like if you're living in Ghana right now, you're probably not thinking that way, or in Cameroon or something. No. But if you're living in a well-to-do place, you have not only the time and the education to think that way, but you understand the benefits of it. So what are we missing here? We're missing the education. We're missing the overall well-being of the people involved, right? If you look after those simple things, like the housing and the food and the education, then more people will join that community. More people will be part of that community and feel compelled to do the right thing. I think. I mean, it's a noble idea. I just don't know get there. I do know how we get there, but I don't know how we avoid the pitfalls of the essentially robber baron mentality.
The minute there's acquiescence and there's people that are willing to, come together, there's going to be somebody that has to step in there to be wants to be the leader of that. That wants to be, because you can't have a million different ideas all coming at it at the same time, right? So everybody would think that their idea was, just as valid as the next person. In other words, you don't have any more status just because you have a job title. Job title doesn't make you better than the other person that you're working with that doesn't have that same title as you. They're not getting paid the same amount of money as you, but they're a human being just like you are. They've been through life and worlds and shit, all the stuff that they've been through in their life. But just because you have a title doesn't make you any more superior to that person. You know what I mean?
I do. I was typing. Yeah. So, So I mean, it's
just saying,
not that difficult.
How do you?
It doesn't seem that difficult.
It
shouldn't be that difficult, right?
So there has to be like a stasis, right? So there's some sort of force out there that keeps everything running. In other words, everybody's there to fix the sewers and keep the electrical going and doing all this stuff. There's people who do that job. That's what they do already, right? So, let's say they're just doing it to keep society rolling at that point. And they just go anywhere they want and just, they want to eat. They just go someplace, a restaurant, just go in there and eat.
I just had a not too radical, but awesome idea that I'm actually thinking might work. We talk about automation and robots taking people's jobs all the time. Not us specifically, but society does, and how that's a big worry in the future. Like, what are people going to do for work? And it occurred to me, if you program the essential things of what it is to be a worker, just to maintain everything, just to make it all run, just to have basic automation. Well, they're there as your labor pool for that day you got sick, or that week you got to take off for an operation, you're going to be in the hospital, laid up for a while, right? And your job's always there. So in other words, if we look at it from that perspective, like there's a betterment of all, and not trying to take the jobs from people, but replace them, just a minimum thing, like the autopilot of a plane, right? Just keep it on a course to cover for you in your absence. Society could be a truly great thing. Like it could be really great, but we have to eliminate the profit motive.
Yeah, because everyone's struggling.
And until you do that,
everybody's got a job already, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's chosen something to do for themselves. So really, everyone's really doing what we're talking about already, except for it's like individualized. It's like you're over here, and you're a truck driver, and you make X amount of dollars, and that's what you've chosen to do for your life. So in other words, your contribution to the world every day is you get up and drive that truck, and you make a certain amount of money for doing it, And out of that certain amount of money you make, you try to struggle and survive on it, But at the same time, if that was your contribution to society, and you did that 8 hours a day or whatever, and then when you were off work, you just went somewhere and you could just eat, or you could just walk into a
Well,
thing
do whatever you
and
want.
see
You
a
have
concert.
a society of abundance, right?
Right,
It's a
because
society of abundance. There's more than you can do. I mean, there's more food you can eat. There's more entertainment you can possibly take in, just because it's all there. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah.
So you really trade. It's the trade that we make already. It's really the same trade, except for there's profit being made off your back over there on the other side of it. On the other side, they got to make money off of you. They got to make a profit. They got to turn a profit. They got to keep expanding. They got to get their taxes. They got to do all this other stuff, and then there's this whole thing that develops out of that, right? So I mean, if we just everybody just do what they're already doing, they're trading in their life force to keep things going. Everybody's doing their job. Without people
Yeah, true commodity is time.
yeah,
Right.
without people doing their jobs right now, everything would fall apart. We talked about it before. If there's no maintenance, shit falls apart. If you don't take care of something, man, especially down here where I live, near the ocean will tear your shit up. If you do a sailboat, for example, if you don't take care of it, what happens, Epic? What does the sea do?
It'll get barnacles on it. You won't be able to sail it. It'll start seeping water in. Everything will start breaking. The pumps will get, the salt will get in there. Your motors won't start when you want to start. Next thing you know, you're just stuck there,
So
at least listening to one side and ready to sink, because you weren't there doing anything with it. You weren't using it. There's a weird irony about boats in particular. Like, a boat is best when it's actually at sea, actually going around doing its thing. When a boat sits idle, it's the worst thing possible for a boat. In the water, you can have it out of the water. That's one thing. But if you're in the water, dude, yeah, you got to move that thing, man.
So in this make-believe society that we're creating, there's going to be a bunch of people that are doing jobs right now, but they're not doing the jobs they want to do. They're doing shitty jobs they hate. And so, but now, because of this new society that we're creating, now they can make that change. So would there be a flood, a sea of people flooding over to do certain aspects, certain things that they can't do now? In other words, now they can do anything they want, because whatever they contribute to society is what they get that's their trade. You know what I mean? Trade. That's what that means.
It's indentured servitude, right? You're oftentimes working in something you hate just to make the money to live the way you want to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the true way society should go is an interest-based economy, where you pursue your interests. And because you're interested, you're good at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to learn. You want to be best at it. You want to be a capable person.
That's not like work. It's like in Cuba. Doctors get paid $20 an hour. You want to be a doctor, it's because you really want to help people. It's not because you give a shit about how much money you're making.
Yeah.
So I mean, just for an example,
you know
there.
what communism that way per se, like that's kind of the problem, like everything be flatlined that way. But the idea that you have a merit-based system, essentially based where you have a baseline, and the better you are at it, the more you make because you're better at it, right? So it's an incentive-based system where because you're a high performer, you're rewarded for that, right? You have more things you have access to. But in reality, if you take the kind of economy base we have today away from the equation and base it on this kind of idea of abundance, right? Then like we were talking about, you can only eat so much. You can only have one house, really. But what
Yeah.
So what more do you need, right? So now you have an abundance thing where there's going to be empty houses and there's going to be more food to eat. And just go wherever you want to do and spend your free time however you want to. Your obligation is only to input to society what society needs, right? And sometimes those things can be artistic. They could be your guitar playing. They could be whatever. It doesn't matter, right? Once it's an autopilot, essentially, going back to the analogy again, then your absence, it isn't going to break the system. Right now, the absence of certain, high-level players can break a system. If you're working at a nuclear power plant, for example, and you're the only guy working right now because they laid off a bunch of people who knows how to, maintain this one thing in the reactor, and then you go down, right? And the other guy that was maybe your backup, he's down with a bum knee or whatever. He's out with his a surgery. What are they going to do? Are they going to fly in somebody from Bosnia or something? And that's a bad example. There's no nuclear power plants here, I don't think. But from Ukraine, let's say. Well, they can't go. They're in Zaporizhia. They can't leave because they're in a war right now. Well, all those problems will be solved if there's no war going on, because everybody already has abundance to begin with, and people are interested already, and they're there for the able to do your beck and call. Or you have the automation in place to at least cover for you for at least a short duration until you get somebody, right? I mean, the freedom that's enabled by this idea is fantastic. Like you're never going to be pigeonholed or stuck in something you don't like. If you're interested in insects and you're studying insects your whole life, and it turns out that wasn't the career for you, right?
Yeah, but it's
well,
like
you can always go someplace else.
it's
right?
like creating a level playing field for the world instead of it just being this way in this country and that way in that country. Every single country has a level playing field. Every single country has top of the line infrastructure, best internet, connections.
The cream always rises to the top because of their interest, because of their engagement.
Yeah, it's not that you're stupid. It's just that you haven't had access to the same kind of education that other people have. So you're smart in other ways. But if there's a baseline where we're all, I don't know, man. Seems like if there was a group of people sitting down, coming up with ideas, it doesn't seem like it'd be too hard to solve the problems, and the way that money gets thrown around. I mean, if you were throwing actual billions of dollars at trying to solve some of these, issues. Think about the billions of dollars and you spending that on infrastructure or whatever, coming up with shit. I mean, it's actually ridiculous that we're spinning out of control into this negative vortex of shit all the time.
Well,
that there's no brains. The only brains are the ones that we see on TV that are made available to us. Are you kidding me? How there's 7 billion people on this planet? You telling me there's nobody who's got a brain on them? There's not a few people who got brains on them that are going to all get together? Oh, what is that? The World Economic Forum? There's some people with brains on them. They got together. Well, those are those our brain people? They have an agenda. Where's the brain people without agenda? The agenda is the human race.
I think the WEF, not just them, but people like that, the Davos meetings and stuff. What they do is they're patting themselves on the back about their intellectualism and how they're in a way rewarding their superiority over the masses, right? By this ideal that they believe in, that the world is homogenized. So there's no cream rising on top. It's just homogenized milk, right? Like everybody's kind of on a, they're lesser. They're not the ones who are capable of being leaders. It's a technocracy ideal, actually, right? This idea of technocracy, and so combined with this weird kind of capitalism, right, involved with it. In technocracy, the idea is that only the qualified and the scientists actually make decisions. The regular people don't, right? Well, I mean, it's a hierarchy.
We're back at Metropolis.
Fiefdom.
Yeah, we're back at Metropolis again. So
it is.
So, but the
Exactly.
thing is the problem is that there's too many other people that are in control of people's lives that have nothing to do with reality. But what we're talking about here is people deciding what to do for their life and then doing that thing, whatever it is. If you're a carpenter, you spend your life banging nails or whatever, and then at one day you stop banging nails, and then your life was about banging nails. That's what you did. You banged nails 8 hours a day. And that was your contribution. You can drive around town and see the houses that you built. You know what I mean? But
yeah, one day you just can't do it anymore. You get arthritis or something, and thank God there's going to be a health system in place to take care of you. And then,
That's
but then
what I was
also
gonna
your
bring up.
contributions weighted against it, right? Like maybe you can just retire. You can just go play guitar after that.
that's
Nobody
another
cares, right?
thing that should be in the baseline in the fabric of our society. Something that's part of the infrastructure. And that's healthcare for everybody. Making people better, not what we have now, where it's this thing for profit. In other words, you get paid for visits, man. How many visits do you make to the doctor? Because they're getting paid every time they get a visit. So in other words, what do you need? There's no reason for them to want to keep you from coming back.
They don't want to keep you sick to make you visit again,
Well,
right?
I'm just saying, if you're only taking care of the symptoms and you're not taking care of the problem, then you're only it's only medication. It's this prescription roundabout, in America anyway. And, look at the shit that's in our food. They're already putting bugs in our food. And I would check out Tyson. I have a thing and I have to go look for it. And then I'll read it to you guys about these new ingredients that they have. What they call it on the box is not what you think it is. It's in the microcosm, freeworld.fm's independent broadcast network. Do you guys want to open up the phones?
Yeah, we could.
718-618-9905. 718-618-9905. Send the microcosm. We're building society from the ground up. Or at least thinking about it.
I've been smoking on the peace pipe. I've been wondering just what would peace be like. I've been staring into headlights, swallow me whole, finding my peace of mind. I'm just trying to see the moment, trying to love the little things, even if they're hard to love. Monument to love unspoken, carved in stone, willing to come undone. Feels good to be running from the devil. Another breath and I'm up another level. It feels good to be up above the clouds. It feels good for the first time in a long time now.
All right, here's your heads up. You're into the microcosm Saturday night. Heads up. Okay. Tyson Foods. So, Hillshire Farms, Sarah Lee, Jimmy Dean, Ballpark, Galo, Pierre, State Fair, Original Philly, Steak Ease. So, crickets are Archetta, Domesticus, Grilliotis, sigillatus.
Crickets.
Mealworms are Tenebrio molitor, and grasshoppers are Locusta migratura.
Okay, migrating locust, basically.
Yeah,
right?
so if you
It
see,
sounds very Cinco de Mayo. Locusta.
I know.
Hey, it's Locusta taco.
If you see this on any of your packaging, eat the bugs and you will like it. Rock and roll. 718
you know, there's so many problems with Tyson Foods, man. From the mass firing of the citizens to the mass hiring of the illegals recently, to the cricket flour, to to the antibiotics in the beef. Most people don't realize that Tyson also controls a large part of the chickens in the beef.
Oh, it's not even great.
Like 80% of the beef in America is Tyson Foods. Like, it's huge. And I forget what it was. It's like 20 million chickens a day that they produce or something. And I mean, we talked about that thing where the chick at 3 days old has already had like 20 times its body weight injected into it.
And its beak cut off, yeah.
And its beak cut off.
Yeah.
It's brutal what they do. Not only to the animals, but to the humans that consume those animals. And,
Well, they just had a case of bird flu transmitting from animals on the farm to a farm worker. So
here we go. Yeah.
Right.
So now we're going to have to destroy all the eggs and destroy all the chickens, and there's going to be a food shortage, and the prices are going to go up. And sorry, we couldn't help it, but now your chicken costs $6 a pound.
And the solution's a petri dish grown food, right? Grown meats. So this all doesn't kill any animals. It's vegan friendly, and you don't have to kill any animals, and it's all just grown right there to your taste and desire, whatever kind of meat you want. And I'm telling you, that's been in the pipeline for a long time. And the thing is that there's already companies like I'm not going to pick on Subway, but I'm kind of going to pick on Subway. They're setting this up by like pick your protein, like this idea of pick your protein being the catchphrase in all these fast food places in particular that have multiple sources of protein. It's not a coincidence, This is like part of the agenda to get you to just, oh yeah, I'll have lion meat today. That's cool. Whatever, right?
Listen.
Because it's all going to be factory grown. It's all going to be grown in these petri dishes, and it's all going to, and the fact that they've already have laws in place, they don't have to tell you. They don't have to tell you that your chicken isn't real chicken.
No.
It's genetically chicken. You know, it's
That's
grown
why
chicken.
that's why KFC is no longer Kentucky Fried Chicken because it ain't chicken.
No.
No,
It's
that's where it's heading.
It's PK39. No.
It's
It
not a
is, no,
conspiracy
it's
either.
PK
It's
39.
conspiracy.
Genetically modified bird-like substance.
Yeah, because they don't have feet.
They don't have feet. They don't have beaks, and they have like way oversized breasts.
Yeah. I used to feed those breasts to my dog, and when I used to cut it at night.
Smelled funny too, right?
Yeah. And I used to cut it, and I could barely cut through the shit. I was like, what the fuck is this? Look at the size of this breast. I mean, what the size of this chicken? What did he do? Is it just like this lump that sits in a cage, and they just pump it full? They got this hose going up its ass.
Yes,
And they just
Pretty
pump,
much, exactly.
They just
Pretty much,
pump
yeah.
antibiotics in that bitch and fucking steroids, and they just
Those,
pump
those
it in
chickens can't eat for themselves. They
Dude,
get fed like.
there. That's what I mean. They got a hose up their ass, and they're pumping it in.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's disgusting, man. Seriously. What are you gonna do either, man? What are you gonna do about
What was the name of there's a documentary, I think it was called Food Inc., but I might be wrong. It's something like that. That showed that whole thing, like how the confinement pens and how like the pigs, they're so fattened that they're in these confinement pens. They can't move. They're just locked in these little wedges like a container.
Yeah, they
And-
can't
and
even
they're-
walk.
And they got
And
these
their
little
skin,
these
because
little-
it's like wireframe,
these little legs.
starts bleeding through the actual pen. Like it's like they're bigger than the pen. It's
Their
insane.
legs are these little legs popping out of this round, giant ham-like looking thing. There's these little legs popping out. But they can't even walk on the legs because the belly is so fat and round that the legs are like up on the side now. They can't reach the ground because they're so small.
Well, they can't walk because they never walked in their life. And
That's what I mean.
the thing with the chickens is they cut their beaks off. And it is like an eyedropper, just feeding them this solution to grow them like that. It's horrific, man.
Dude.
Yeah, you shouldn't eat that stuff. I mean, look, I'm not a vegetarian, but I would definitely lobby.
Well, you know, you eat
anything
that's
like
why you
that.
go for. You try to find yourself some kosher beef that's actually farm raised, and you try to, get yourself some free range chickens that actually do walk around and eat bugs like they're supposed to, and not eat the slop that's dripped to them.
Well, I heard about this.
I mean, it costs more money. It does. I mean, it's
I
more
heard
expensive.
about this earlier this week. And so now you guys have been talking about, we've been talking about this. So here, let's talk about this. Did you know that May is No Meat May? That's right. No Meat May. It's the No Meat Challenge for 31 days in the month of May. No meat. Healthier people on a healthier planet. Hells yeah is what this website. Hells yeah.
Well, let's see. It's
Hold on.
it's the 4th of May, and I've already had meat 6 times this month.
All right, listen to me. Listen to me. The healthier people on a planet. Hells yeah. Switch to planet-rich eating for 31 days to improve your healthy, help the planet. Save animals from suffering, and you'll do your bit for world hunger. Are you up for it? Sign up. Donate. Here's the 4 big reasons. Let me see. Let me scroll. Let me see here. If you sign up, you'll get free recipes, meal plans, nutrition tips, cooking demos, and join a growing global community of bloody good sorts. I find it interesting that they said bloody in there.
They call them soy boys for a reason, right?
Well, that's because soy has genetically modified to have female-like hormonal qualities to it.
Well, yeah, that's
Hence-
that's part of it. But these people who eat the tofu is what? It's fermented soybean.
It's bean curd.
Yeah, it's fermented soybeans.
Here.
That's what it is.
Let's hear
And they
it.
call it what was it? Umami. It's a fancy word for soybeans.
Here. Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen to this here. This is the promotional video for No Meat. Here we go. Let's hear what they got to say.
Should I take this off? Thank you all for coming to the No Meat May Grown Up School for Clever Number Learning. The biggest number you need to know is that if you take part of this challenge, you will help save millions of animal lives. Numbers, numbers, numbers. A very simple number you...
This dude looks like a gay German. I'm gonna have to put him on the screen for everyone. Hold on a second. Let me grab this, bring it over to YouTube.
Also, time on sprockets when we dance.
This dude, I don't know what his trip is, but I mean, like I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with him being gay, but I'm just saying, I'm glad that the gay actors are getting some play. You know, he's got some. Hold on a second. No meat. Here we go. Hold on a minute. He's rolling it. Hold on. He's rolling deep. Here we go.
I take this off. Thank you all for coming to the No Meat May Grown Up School for Clever Number Learning. The biggest number you need to know is that if you take part of this challenge, you will help save millions of animal lives. Numbers, numbers, numbers. A very simple number.
See the way he was smacking that whip thing on his hand?
But you know the part that gets me, right, is he,
Picking up his t-shirt.
Wait. He looks a little limp in the wrist, but look at his arms and his shoulders. That's a man who works out and takes lots of protein. That is not a no meat body.
Not a tofu body. No.
That's not a tofu body. If you ate as much tofu as this guy's proclaiming, you would not look like that.
Why is there an anarchy symbol up there on the board behind his head? See it?
Yeah, I see it.
It's got the
and I also see the
symbol, which is actually a not Triskelion, I forget what they call that. That's another
the tri whatever something.
Yeah, it's that 9/11.
The tri-star.
Is that 9/11 with the 9 and the slash and the 1?
No, it's 9/10.
9/10, 31 days. Yeah,
it's 9/10, but 0 don't matter, so it's 9/11 with the slash. All right, so look at him. Are those glasses even real? I don't think so. Here we go.
But you can get excited about it.
Look at him right there. Look at him. Look at this shit. Look at this guy. Look at the jaw movement right here. Look at the little head placement. It's such a submissive little gay head placement. Look at it.
A very simple number you can get excited about is that you're going to have
he's the man on the
amazing
bottom.
meals every day. And that will leave you counting your blessings. For 31 days, you get to join 50,000 people across 60 different countries around the world.
All right, hold on a second. Let's slow this shit down. Got to slow it down and see if we can get him a little more masculine. Hold on. I think that'll do him there. This 50%, you think that'll be good? Hold on, let's see.
Number learning. The biggest number you need to know is that if you take part of this challenge, you will help save millions of animal lives.
Why does he shake his head no when he says millions?
Numbers, numbers.
Even on his shirt. Wait, even on his shirt, it's where it says no meat May. The A in May is the anarchy symbol.
I know, and look at the way he's smacking that riding crop on his hand. And then in the next scene, it disappears. Watch.
Numbers, numbers, numbers. A very simple number. You
see he went for the extra head shake and the lip purse right there at the end.
While he's slapping his riding crop.
Yeah.
Bend over, Sonny. I'm going to spank you now.
Yeah, totally. It's this whole, very sexual overtone, right?
Hansel und Greta, kommen Sie for uns spankings.
A very simple number you can get excited about is that you're going to have 3 amazing meals every day. And that will leave you counting your blessings. For 31
he's got a torture
days.
dungeon somewhere.
What?
He's got a torture dungeon somewhere, right? He's got like people locked up downstairs, and like the Gimp from
S90
Gimp, actually.
S90's in the chat, and he says he wants me to reverse him. Oh, jeez.
You should reverse him, dude. And listen, Ronan in the chat is saying the dude's getting his protein from another source, and I think he's right. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay.
Except what's obviously wrong with that.
Well, I'm just saying, we're not judging him. You know, if that's how he gets his protein, then, you know, he gets his protein that way. You know, we're not trying to say anything wrong with it. No, it's like, you know, didn't you see that episode of Seinfeld, man?
Yeah, I know. It's nothing wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, you know.
No, except for what the obviously is wrong with it.
You get to join 50,000 people across 60 different countries around the world.
I do have to say, though, those meals did look good, whatever they were. But I could smell, it's almost like I could smell the...
You could smell the tofu, couldn't you?
I could smell...
There's a place in on the Big Island. It's just soup. It's all it sells different soups. It reminded me of that place.
No soup
it's
for
pretty
you.
good, actually.
No soup for you.
Also, multiplication is easy. Why don't you ask a friend to do it with you?
Why don't you ask your friends to do it to you? Oh,
So he's got a sheep there.
we only get your spanking going here.
Dude, what about he just took a giant bite off the apple after he said to reproduce? Here.
All right, so
Look at this.
that giant bite off the apple, is that a little Adam and Eve symbolism there?
Yeah, look at it's here's
And it's so good. Yeah, my apple is so tasty.
here we go.
You will enjoy my apple seed.
Here, listen. Here he goes. Look.
Multiplication is easy.
There's an apple.
See, he just said that it's easy.
Yeah, there's an apple behind him on the board, on the chalkboard.
Drop the link in here. I'll reverse this guy.
Look at see the apple behind him.
Drop the link for me.
All right, here we go. Here's the link. Hold on a second. Why are you rattling my cage with the link? Here we go. Here's the link. Go ahead. Now, watch the apple action.
Easy. Why don't you ask a friend to do it with you?
Oh, ask your
If you
friends.
sign up for 4 big reasons, you'll have 100% fun. It only takes 2 minutes to sign up.
I'll be
You
finished
get
with you
free
in 2
cook-
minutes. Don't worry, it is quick.
We're at the top of the hour. It's freeworld.fm. Mine's Jimmy. Rock
I'm
and
gonna have
Reels.
nightmares about that apple bite, man. Just an expression he made, right? Like, what
Rock,
the hell?
Rock and Rio is going to reverse this guy. It's the Independent Broadcast Network.
If I was your girlfriend, would you remember? You tell me all of the things you forgot when I was your man. Hey, hey, when I was your man. If I was your best friend, would you let me take care of you? Do all the things that only a best friend can. Oh, only best friends can. If I was your girlfriend, would you let me dress you? I mean, help me pick out your clothes before we go out. Not that you're helpless, but sometimes those are the things that being in love's about. And if I was your one and only friend, would you run to me if somebody hurt you, even if that somebody was me? Hey. make you breakfast sometime? Well, then could we just hang out? I mean, could we go to a movie and cry together? 'Cause to me, baby, that would be so fine.
It's freeworld.fm.
Knew a girl named Nikki, I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. I met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with a magazine. She said, how'd you like to waste some time? And I could not resist when I saw little Nikki grind. Took me to her castle and I just couldn't believe my eyes. She had so many devices, everything that money could buy. She said, sign your name on a dotted line. The lights went out and Nikki started to grind. I can't tell you what you did to me, but my body will never be the same. Will you kick your behind? Oh, just show you no mercy, but just shout enough, show you how to grind.
The jig is up. We're on to you.
You think you can stop me? No one can stop me.
Oh, yeah?
Hello.
Mackie, this is the president. I need you guys to go to Australia and stop this guy. Please put fast on the phone. Hello. Large? Stand by.
Hello.
Yo.
Yes, sir.
We need you now. You're our only hope. We're screwed, boys. Screwed.
It's Saturday night. My name's Jay. This is freeworld.fm and the Independent Broadcast Network.
I see her out, shit, all over town, but I get no play. My man says you gotta be crazy.
Nice boat.
I talk of things that might be to her in a voice that makes her pulse rush. Yeah, I can tell. Ritmo si, nena ritmo si. I watch her dance, man. You know you gotta be crazy.
Fun-loving criminals on the Independent Broadcast Network. Master Jimmy. Rockaria.
Yeah.
What's it looking like over there with our German friend?
Well, we are right about his orientation.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. Interesting. He smokes the rope, eh?
He has a well-lubricated rectum.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I guess we'll have to listen. Are you ready?
Yeah, I got 2 lines already, and that should be a good start to this discussion.
All right. There we go. Fun-loving criminals. There they go. They're on the boat. All right. Go ahead. Rock and
All
roll.
right, so I just started at the almost the end of the video where the music picks up, and just kind of went from there. The first thing he says is, "Mein Ass greasy."
Hey, yes. Greasy.
Wow.
Greasy.
Man,
Then he says,
that
"I'm
is
not
cl-
sure.
Play that
I'm
again.
not sure what the first part of this says, but I do hear the word dick in there." And then it says, "It's not difficult to cast the will of the demon. I suck it. I want men to see how men come, so we summon them."
Oh my God.
Yeah. Here, I'll do this a little slower. It's not, right? Right? It's not difficult to cast the will of the demon. It says, "I suck it. I want men to see how men come."
But the most important number is the number 1 because that's how.
Right here, "I suck it.
That's it.
I suck it. I want men to see
We
how
have
men
really,
comes.
we have
Men
really
to see
how men come.
we have gone
We
down.
summon them. So, yeah.
We have really gone down the rabbi hole tonight, man.
Well,
With
it's not
this.
the rabbit's hole.
No, I said the rabbi hole. Go ahead.
Yeah. I said, yeah. Ay.
Listen,
His ass is greasy, man.
that is. I mean, what's next?
Dude, I don't know.
He
I
likes
haven't
to-
gotten farther than that yet.
He likes to get a tickle from a
We,
tickle.
we can organic it and just
Go ahead. Yeah, let her rip, man.
Something about
plus 4 week cleaning time. The lowest.
the mouth. We have to get you off. Okay. This guy is like just total perv mode right here.
This dude, I knew it, man. He was out there flagrantly displaying himself like he was.
Oh yeah.
It's like
I want to chop toe off with this.
Where's that gonna get you, Lodge? It's 1995, man. Look where you come. You come a long way.
You know, if I saw him again and I had this.
I realize that, but it's time to take it easy. We got so many things to look forward to in the future of ours that's coming up soon. Look at me, all right? I'm on top of everything. My fashion, everything, all right? You gotta stay ahead of the game. But that is a big-ass phone. See, like, phones gotta get smaller. You see these brains? One day, hear me now, I'll tell you later, they're gonna be up in the sky.
Que sera, sera.
What's gonna be? Gonna be. All right, have fun, Lodge.
All right, make money, money, money.
make money. This dude had a job down at the club on gay night. And he met the finest girl of his life that night at gay night. It's the fun-loving criminals sitting in a microcosm.
I was working at the club in 1995. Sunday was the night that the gay crowd came alive. See, I would carry ice, and the crowd was just so nice that my phobia drowned while I was getting down. I met the finest girl of my
tell. She was with some guys, but when they gave him the eye, he knew she was just their friend, real.
Well, here's the next line in the speech.
All right, go ahead.
It says, "We need to serve another sister here. They're good with you, faggot." They're good with you.
I don't know, dude. I feel dirty now. When I got here, I was feeling okay, but now I feel like I feel dirty with this whole.
So eat your beef, eat your lamb, eat your real chicken, but don't eat the meat for May.
Don't eat meat.
Don't eat that meat. Don't eat the German meat.
No. Stay away from the sausages, man. The German sausages.
Schnitzel.
Where's Billy Ray? That's funny, man. Ronan said Billy.
Talking to you to Michael.
I see it. Yeah.
No, you know what's funny is, you know how we had that lighter shade of brown video, and we said it was Billy back in the day. Now he said Ronan's saying that this is the Fun Loving Criminals is Billy's comeback video.
Oh.
He's got white tennis shoes on, this dude, but Billy don't have a goatee. That's the thing. Billy's got no goatee.
One time we joked about that, like for a whole show about his pencil thin mustache and his goatee, and yeah, it was like 3 years ago, right? But no, he's a good sport, man. He is. You know, the thing about this guy we're talking about, this this German guy, is we were joking about now's the time much frock gets when we dance. And his whole attitude when he lifts up his shirt in that video, so people aren't able to watch, just listening. He picks up a shirt when he's talking about this stuff, and it's definitely like almost a nod to like a little girl from Dieter from Saturday Night Live, right? From the Michael Myers skit. Absolutely, man. And then the apple bite, like that's gonna haunt my dreams. It is. It's just like it's so gay.
Well, not only is that, but like there's.
I'm still laughing. Sorry.
This next part here. It says it's demonic. You know, so it's like he comes right out and says it.
Your audio's going in and out, man. It's weird.
Oh, right here, I got it. Right. Hang on. He says, "My name is something." I'm not sure what he says, and then he says, "It is demonic." So, yeah, his you know, and then a little later on, it says, "Announce Satan." So, you know, that seems to be a common theme lately too with these people.
Well, he has the symbols in the background too,
people
telling you what he's up to, right? Like he's got that
anarchy, the apple,
the anarchy, the apple,
the whole thing, right? It all fits, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like it was meant to be a joke, right? But I'm not laughing.
But the problem is not a joke. It's meant to be, you know, corny or entertaining and on some level, like, you know, to look like it's being satirical, but it's 100% serious.
You know? No, it's 100% serious. It's Meatless May, dude. 31 days of no meat.
With 87 recipes, plus 4 weekly meal plans. A lot of recipes. But the most important number is the number 1. Because that's how many people it would take to make a difference. And that one person is you.
All right, so
what's the pink calculator?
Hold on. So this next one I got here is interesting, right? So the line says forward. It says, "Why don't you ask your friends to do it with you?" And the reverse says, "We refuse to ask science for help."
Why don't you ask your friends to do it with you?
Why don't you ask your friends to do it with you?
If there was this nerfage, no help.
We refuse to turn to science for help. Yeah, because science tells you that there's a right way and a wrong way to procreate. And he's obviously on the wrong side of that. Just gets deeper and deeper.
It's because the Starbucks picture is not Starbucks, it's Wake and Bake, and it's behind that video. And so it blinks, and that's why you see it. It's not a subliminal Starbucks message.
Oh, somebody said it in chat or something.
Yeah.
I mean, the expressions he makes along the way for people who aren't able to see the video are so over the top. Like they're so over the top. Like homosexual flirtation, like looking, smiles and
S90 wants you to join the
gestures
Navy in reverse.
Well, since we're on this topic, one thing I've always noticed, and I've been curious about for a while, is people who participate in that, especially the more flamboyant ones, all have the same voice, right? They all speak with this special tone that you just can't emulate properly unless you're one of them. And
I wish my brother George were here.
Right. How is it that every single person who's involved at that level sounds like that? The only thing that the only reason I can come up with is that they are all infested with the same demon.
Well, here, I'll give you the real reason. It's because it's a way of talking that the younger generation and the generation gap that we're talking about, it's a way of talking that the boys talk like that now, because they don't want to scare the girls away because they really want to have sex with them. So they have to act in this sort of beta male gay way.
Well, no, it's not even beta male. It's like
they're not even gay, but they talk like that so they don't, spook the herd.
But the people I'm referring to are those who specifically are gay and are very proud of it. The ones that snap their fingers in the air and they walk. They swag their hips when they walk, and they all have the same tone to their voice. Every single one of them has the same lisp tone to their voice.
In cadence, they have the cadence too.
The same generation.
There's a whole thing to the way they speak. There's people who speak more effeminately than others, or have higher voices, or speak softer. I'm not talking about those people. There's a specific set of them that have a very, very distinct and almost absolutely identical way of speaking.
Yeah, it's just exactly like the inflection. It's like the inflection of.
It's a spiritual affliction.
It's like the inflection of a question at the end of every sentence. It's the same exact thing. It's a way of talking that's been programmed into people. You can't tell who's who. You don't know. You can't tell. Believe me, I've met plenty of gay guys that don't talk like that.
Oh, I have too.
I'm
not saying that everybody does that. I'm saying there's a specific set of them that all do that.
Oh, right. No, there are. It's like they're the what do they call it? They're the harem. They're the harem group. That's what I call them. Like the harem group. Like this, they're for the pickings for the upper hierarchy of what this guy's trying to be, apparently. I mean, I don't know, man. I've noticed the same thing. Like it bothers me. Like there is this group, a specific group, like a subset, right? That's a pretty big subset of people who they absolutely do that. They're copying something else they've seen, essentially.
Exactly.
But it's like an infection, right?
Plus, they're all swilling. They're all drinking water out of that BPA, mimicking female hormones, and they're drinking soy milk, and they're getting programmed by these lightweight featherweights on TV, emulating what it's like to be a man, cowering in your garage like a monkey, stupefied, drinking beer, working on your car, whatever the hell it is, Meanwhile, you got some, look, man, the masculinity's been programmed out, dude. You get any bass in your
they don't have to
look
listen
at
to,
look at if
what's
I
his
throw
face,
if there's any bass
Roadhouse, right?
listen, if there's any bass in my voice wherever I go, if I put bass in my voice, all of a sudden I'm angry. All of a sudden I got a bad attitude.
Toxic masculinity, bro. Yeah.
It's like that anger management video. It's like, sir, calm down. And he goes, what do you mean calm down? I'm calm. He goes, sir, calm down. I'm calm, but now I'm not. I don't know, dude. You better not get angry anywhere. That's all I'm saying. People run for cover for the safe room, dude. You know what, man? If I squint because I can't see, like I'm looking across the room or something, I'm at work and I'm squinting because I can't see. It looks like my brow is furrowed, like I'm pissed off. They're like, what's wrong? What's wrong with Jimmy?
Do prescriptions all or something, right?
What's wrong with Jimmy?
Simple things. Right?
He's pissed. No, man, I'm not pissed. But it's the microaggressions.
Because you're thinking, you call me pissed all the time. What the hell do you think I'm pissed for?
Exactly.
Damn it.
You rolled your eyes in a forceful manner, and it caused a microaggression. You need to go to microaggression management, dude.
I won't play the first couple words on this because it's a little too vulgar.
It's not vulgar. We're on freeworld.fm.
Well, but yeah, it's vulgar.
Just play it.
He just says putting it in. No.
Play it. We're waiting.
We can't hear it. I think you're
you
playing.
didn't hear it?
No.
Hold on. You pushed the button here.
Yeah, do that.
Putting it in.
I kind of heard it. I didn't really hear it.
3 amazing meals.
Oh, yeah.
Putting it in.
3 amazing meals, putting it in.
Yeah.
Dirty.
Well, not 3 amazing meals, but that was the forward to 3 amazing
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. He's putting it in. It's going deep.
3 amazing meals. And he's congruent. He's going deep for 3 amazing meals. I don't know. One thing leads to another, doesn't it? It's all too much, man.
Oh, he says something about the death of God, and then he goes, serve man, serve man, serve men.
Well, actually, now that, see, when I was watching the video forward, I thought that's where it was going, actually. Like cannibalism, right? Like that's the final, taboo being broken, right? I actually garnered that from what he was saying forward.
Here we go. The men that we serve, right? Serve men, serve men, serve men.
Yeah. Not good.
Well,
not good.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
well, no, and that's the thing we want to make sure we convey is we're not picking on gay people at all.
No,
it's just like the way that he does this, right? Like it's so overtly that way.
Clearly, he's clearly marketing to a demographic.
Yeah.
Is the point is that he is put forward as a seductive character for people who, like Rio was saying, there's a certain tone to his voice that he might resonate with a large group of people. 718-618-9905. 718-618-9905. Give us a call. Let us know what you think.
I've got my clipboard, textbooks, lead me to the station. Yeah, I'm off to the Civil War. I've got my kit bag, my heavy boots. I'm running in the rain, gonna run till my feet all roar. Slip kid, second generation. I'm a soldier at 13. Slip kid, realization. There's no easy way to be free. No easy way to be free. It's a hard work. I left my doctor's prescription bungalow behind me. I left the door ajar. I left my vacuum flask full of hot tea and sugar. Left the keys right in my car. Slip kid, second generation, only half. Keep away on me, you won't fool me. Knowing your history won't rule me. My people try to put us to down. Talking about my generation. Just because we get around. Talking about my generation. Things they do look awful. Talking about my generation. I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation. This is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation. My generation. This is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away?
Fade away.
Talking about, Roger Daltrey was on Real Time with Bill Maher last night. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, I thought maybe you did. That's why I chose that.
No.
It was interesting because it was a one-on-one. Like at the beginning of every show now, they do a one-on-one interview before they go to the main panel.
Mm-hmm.
And last night's was Roger Daltrey.
Nice.
And it was actually really cool. And his talking about Roger Daltrey was how when he was asked, why is he always bare-chested and, all these poses, like he's the rock god, image of everybody from that era, went around with his bare chest and, singing and putting it out there, right? And he says, well, it was just really hot on stage. And one day I decided to take my shirt off and, I felt better about it. It was getting hot when I sang. And it says, yeah, so did the girls, Bill Maher jokes with them and all that stuff, right? But the point is, like, there's definitely like a tie-in to how something simple and not meant to be, it's organic, right? It's not meant to be something that people follow. Took off like that. The whole thing of the bare-chested, lead singer, Roger Daltrey kind of created that, right? Totally unintentionally, right? Just because he was hot. I mean, like hot on stage, right? That's all it is. So,
well, and
I wonder, like this too. Guy. Oh, go ahead.
Everybody else was hot too.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. One thing he said I thought you'd get a kick out of was that he was saying, like, it talks about the friction in the band and how they're always fighting each other. He said, well, yeah, I was the only straight guy, not meaning not gay. He meant I'm the only straight guy amongst all these people taking every single, intoxicant known to man.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever they gave him, they were just getting high the whole time. There's only one not in the entire band at the time, all those years, right? And he said he had a drink with him once in a while, but they never got involved with all that other stuff. And I thought that was kind of interesting to think about that dynamic. And he thought that it worked, the band worked because of those kind of frictions, like the creative process worked that way. He was making a movie, that's why they were promoting it, kind of was a documentary about Keith Moon. That he was this incredibly funny guy who made Peter Sellers laugh, right? The one guy he ever met that could make Peter Sellers laugh, right? That he was such an incredible comedic talent and talented drummer people never give credit for, that people don't know who he really was. So I thought that was cool, but I thought maybe you watched it. That's why you brought that up.
Well, you guys have heard me talk about the Keystone Big Bob Corona, and Big Bob Corona's girlfriend was a really great lady by the name of Dina, and her brother Lauren, when he was a kid, he was like 15, 16, he used to come into the club, and he could come in because we served food or whatever, and he was with an adult, and it was a bar or whatever. He'd come and see shows and this and that, and then eventually he ended up playing shows there with a little band that he had. Believe it or not, he went on to be the Who's keyboard player. His name's Lauren Gold, and he's been playing keyboards for the Who since 2012.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, it's just crazy, to see, shit like that go on. People making it. It's really great. you know, one thing leads to another. Somehow you were in the right place at the right time, you know?
Well, yeah, that's what another revealing part about that interview last night was that the whole thing about their big giant speakers and the you know, destroying the guitars and all stuff is because they're so poor. They're emerging. So the Who, like a lot of bands in England at the time, are emerging from World War II, right? And so just like we're looking at Ukraine right now, the city is totally devastated. Big, you know, huge swaths of England were wiped out from you know, B1 and B2 attacks and all that stuff during the war. And it's like he was saying, like there's rubble at both ends of this block, right? And so they were so poor that he had to like make his own guitar basically, but it looked cool. And that like the equipment they had, like with the big cabinets and stuff, was because they had took pieces of panels of cabinets to make their own speakers and stuff. And the, part of the impression it made was, man, these guys must be really good and well off, man. Look how huge their gear is, right? It really is just because they made it, you know, themselves out of, you know, cabinets and stuff. So I thought that was pretty funny, good insight, you know, into how people perceive something like a band like that and how that becomes a big thing now. People copied them. Like I said, the shirtless lead singer is from Roger Daltrey, who's taking a shirt up because he's hot. The big cabinet, you know, speaker system of the amps and stuff, it wasn't because they were so rich and had this great sound system. It's because they built it out of the remnants of these cabinets and stuff that were left around from the rubble, basically, there in England at the time. That's why they were able to destroy them, because they were cheap. They didn't mean anything to them, right? So there you go. That's the story, behind the music, you know, basically from the interview last night.
It's raining again in Northern California. Man, I'm sick of this rain.
Well, luckily it's not raining here. I mean, here it rains like every day a little bit, so you know it's not a big deal. It's rare that we have like a long-term storm, you know, but when we do, it's a big deal. But so it's kind of nice. I like that about it. But yeah, no, I don't like the rain. I don't like the rain at all.
Well,
I can never live in a place
doesn't
where
it
rains all-
rain just about every day in Hawaii?
Yeah, but it goes away too. Right?
No,
So
I know, but
that's
it
what I
goes
mean.
away.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. It comes and
Yeah.
it goes. The end, you know, and then it's on. You know, whenever it rains around here, I always think about this song right here. This is in the microcosm Saturday night. We're here with Rock and Rio and
It
the
was raining
illustrious
hard in
Epicurean.
Frisco. I needed one more fare to make my night. A lady up ahead waved to flag me.
When I was a little kid, this song would come on. You know, late night AM radios. Shit was a long ass song.
It's a shame you ruined your gown in the rain. She just looked out the window. She said 16 Parkside Lane.
This song's about a dude driving a taxi in San Francisco, and then he gets a fare, gets in the back, and all of a sudden he looks in the rearview mirror and realizes it's his ex-girlfriend. See, these songs, they told a story about them.
Well, Harry Chapin
Now,
was an incredible
what
talent,
is-
man. I mean, he was.
I mean, you get invested in the guy's song, you know. You're sitting there. It's raining hard, and it's raining hard in Frisco. He needed one more fare to make his night. Lady up ahead, she waved him down. She got in at the light, you know. It's telling a story, man. You can tell I've listened to this song a few times, but I mean, I used to listen to AM radio every night when I was a little kid. You know, and I continued, you know, until the end of Art Bell. But anyways, that's a whole other story.
Something about her was familiar. I could swear I've seen her face before. But she said, I'm sure you're mistaken. And she didn't say anything more.
This reminds me of that Bob Dylan song, too. When he's in a bar somewhere. Don't I know you, Jimmy, or something. What's the lyric to that song, Rio?
I'm not sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's another one of these instances where somebody's somewhere and somebody recognizes them from the past. Yeah, Exactly. Amber said this song would never happen in an Uber today.
Yeah.
No.
Tangled Up in Blue. Yep.
Tangled, yeah, there you go.
Exactly. Mundo. All right, well, listen. The only way we're doing freeworld.fm tomorrow is if you get up. So I just, I don't know if you're going to raise out of your, deep sleeps or you'll be up for hours already. Pressure washing the front of your house, and then you'll pop in to get us on Free World. What's the verdict, man?
I'll get us on Free World tomorrow.
All right. Then I'll get up. I was just gonna take the day off and just sleep in, but
take the day off, right?
Exactly. But I mean, if you're gonna be there, I'll get my ass up, even though it's hard to do on a Sunday, but today it rained all day. You know what I'm saying? It rained all day here.
So I got a question.
I only get 2 days
music
off
because it rained in all the time.
What's that?
Is that why it came about?
What's that?
Like the Seattle music scene, grunge music. Does it only exist because of being rained in all the time?
Don't get Rio
like for 300 days out of the year.
Don't get Rio started on grunge, but listen. The thing is, listen, when it's dark and there's no sun, what's the name of that? You get, first of all, your vitamin D goes down, and then on top, when you couple
cabin fever, yeah,
right, but you couple that with the heroin, that's where you really go south, man, because there's no sun and it's depressing, and you just sit around and moan.
It's very specific, right? Like it is. It's a mood. It's a mood.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, there's actually a name for the disease.
Yeah,
it does escape me for the moment, but it's like, that's why people get depressed in the winter.
Is that
because of the lack
one
of
of
sunlight.
the symptoms that you moan and whine? Here's the Long Beach Dub All Stars. Seasonal Disorder. Amber in the chat. She's like a quick draw McGraw in there tonight, boys.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Easy goes and it goes non-stop. Check your temperature, pressure's gonna drop. Rise the occasion and we gonna rock. Easy goes and it goes non-stop. Check your temperature, pressure's gonna drop. Rise the occasion and we gonna rock. Because getting through the day is a process. You running through the maze till you're lost. Letter after letter, thinking life will all be better. In the end, will leave you ready to fall. Seconds feel like hours, and hours feel like days. You try to make a living, but all you're doing is giving, getting nothing in return but the rain. Easy it goes and it goes non-stop. Check your temperature, pressure's gonna drop. Rise the occasion and we gonna rock. We're gonna rock, we're gonna rock. Easy it goes and it goes non-stop. Check your temperature, pressure's gonna drop. Rise the occasion and we gonna rock. We're gonna rock, we're gonna rock. So tell me how you're living, or who you're hustling. Survival of the fittest, so what you're working with. You're struggling to pay attention, with good or bad intention. Because some of them ride a bike to get the food ready. Some of them dress fresh to impress the ladies. Some of them care for the needy. Some of them ball, oh want to pity. Well, some just call it work. Well, that's what people do. Some try to teach the youths and watch what they do. Well, some of them work at night, just try to make it through. Easy it goes and it goes non-stop. Check your temperature, pressure's gonna drop. Rise the occasion and we gonna rock. We gonna rock, we gonna rock. Easy it goes and it goes non-stop.
DJ me say on the mic. Anywhere we go me say rum up and tight. People on the left go match it, people on the right. Some a drive cars, some of them a ride bike. Promoter him a scoop, him only dance 8 tight. Man a enjoy them, say them nah pay the price. Long Beach to All-Star. Long Beach All-Star.
So there's a big outbreak of TB down in Long Beach. Did you guys hear about that?
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
I have not. It's a huge deal. Like,
I know.
tuberculosis catching all over the world, actually.
No, I know.
The last few years. But
It's dangerous. Yeah, check it out. No, Long Beach Dub All Stars. So that song rocks, man.
I always think of the movie Tombstone, right?
Almost, yeah.
Longer, right? Longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna.
Right?
I'm gonna tell you guys a story, man. This is disgusting. The story I'm gonna tell you, but I'm telling it for a reason. So I don't mean to disgust you with the story, but I'm driving to work the other morning. I'm driving to work, and I cough some shit up. It's, they're saying it's gonna rain. It's gonna rain. It's a perfect day. Everything's perfect. The day before, a couple days before, it's perfect. So the day before it's gonna rain. So I'm driving to work. I cough this shit up. Okay, and when I exhaled, it created this bubble that was like covering my mouth hole to the point where it wouldn't pop. Like I was blowing air through it, and it was just sitting there. So I wiped this shit off. I'm driving down the freeway. I wipe this shit off because there's no way I can spit it out. I wipe it off with my hand, and I'm holding it in my hand, this shit that I spit up. And there's a fucking bubble sitting on my hand. Literally, this shit was unnatural. It was clear. There was no... and the reason I'm bringing it up, man, because, is this microplastics? I mean, are these like... nanoparticles that are, dusted into the air to, collect water and cause it to rain. You know what I'm saying?
It could be.
I don't know. I recall one time I coughed, and it scared the heck out of me because when I coughed up, like we were talking about, but I didn't get the bubble, I just coughed in my hand. It was like, you think of like mucus or something, and there was these little tubes, like little 2 centimeter long tubes. I'm thinking it's my bronchi. I'm coughing a bronchi, right? And it freaked the heck out of me, and it never happened again. So then went to the doctor about it. But you just don't know, man. Like the thing is, like the idea of the $50 fine for spitting in cities has been on the books since the 1700s or whatever, or 1800s in most cities.
Mm-hmm.
That's because of tuberculosis. Like people don't need to know the backstory. The reason that those laws are on the books in the first place is to end the transmission of tuberculosis.
But
so you spit on the street is a finable offense. And $50 is like $1,000 today.
Right. What I'm talking about is microplastics or nanoparticles being used for weather modification, because all of a sudden it's going to rain when it's not supposed to rain here anymore. Raining is over. Rain ended like last month. So typically it doesn't rain here. And all of a sudden they say, literally, I shit you guys not, it was like this. It's going to rain on Saturday at 9 a.m. And it will rain for approximately a few hours till 1. Okay? The rain started right at 9 o'clock and it ended right around 1. Just like they said. Now, when did the
weatherman get so accurate?
Exactly. That's what I'm wondering. When did he get so accurate all of a sudden?
Well, they did that to us here probably a week or two ago. We had just had that big thunderstorm, that cold front storm that moved through the country, right? It came up through the southeast, the mid-south from Texas, and came right up through New York and went out toward Maine. And the skies were a beautiful sapphire blue color for 2 days. And, the forecast said sunny for the next week, right? And all of a sudden, You see all the zigzags across the sky, the checkerboard, right?
Mm-hmm.
The weather forecast suddenly changed to rain tomorrow. Now there's a big, huge pocket of cold air and crystal clear skies. And if you looked at the national weather map, not a cloud in sight for halfway across the country, right? All of a sudden we see zigzag lines and it's going to rain first thing in the morning. Where did that rain come from?
I just think there's weather modification at will. It's just whatever. Hey, look, they probably get a permit. Look, hey, we're gonna make it rain. Or whatever. We're gonna be spraying this shit in the air. Whatever. Make it aware. Fly patterns around it. Whatever they do. Is this shit cool to go inside of motors? Airplane engines? I don't know. But what I do know is I remember distinctly on the Kev Baker show bringing up this very topic with people about coughing up some weird shit that didn't seem biological almost. It almost seemed...
Yes, it's not natural mucus, right?
Right, unnatural. And right at the very same time, you started to see all these commercials on TV about mucus. It was like...
Mucinex.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there was like this mucus, and it was a cartoon.
The mucus monster.
Yeah, it was a cartoon, and the mucus like moved into your chest or whatever with the furniture and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you took this medicine and kicked out the mucus out of your chest, and I was tripping on it, man. It's like all at the same time, and I'm wondering, well, what's up, man? Are they just spraying tons and tons of this shit in the atmosphere, and everyone just breathing it in and just coughing it up or whatever? I mean, it's a little bit strange to have shit like, I mean, it looks like it's plastic or rubber or some kind of material. Doesn't even look. I'm just saying it's not yellow or some kind of infection or some shit. You know what I mean? It's literally
it's
clear.
And it's really sticky, right?
Yeah,
it's
almost
sticky like honey sticky, like a honey ball.
And it's almost like the harder you cough to get it out, the harder it sticks. It's like the only way to get it out is to not cough it out, but to push it out with wind in your throat. It's a trick.
Karen in chat says, "What about programmable nano crap?"
Exactamundo. It's something weird, man. I'm just saying. Exactly. Very sticky. Exactly.
So the whole plot.
Amber says it's the mucus demon.
Well, so let's just suppose. Let's say there's a nanoparticle that attracts water when it's in the atmosphere, and it's got little legs on it that stick out, that catch any moisture that may be out there to collect it and turn it into a drop, and then you breathe that shit in, and now you're creating this gel inside your lungs from the same exact shit. It expands when water hits it and turns into like a gel-like drop. That's why that.
Well, wasn't there a thing?
That's the plot of Deus Ex, right? Of the game. So in the 90s, there was two landmark games that really came about that moved computer games forward. Not counting Doom, put Doom aside for a minute. But as far as plot-driven games, and it was Deus Ex Machina, and it was Half-Life, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but the plot of Deus Ex was that, and it continued in Deus Ex 2, was this idea of these nanoparticles being spread. These throughout the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the atmosphere. And Deus Ex 2 really exploited that. Like this nanoparticles people breathing in became a problem, right? And so there's this whole thing about whether the nanoparticles were actually like nanobots, like trying to change civilization, or just a respiratory annoyance, right? So the fact that we're talking about 30 years ago, essentially, that we're talking about the same thing today being a reality, that there's actually the possibility that these nanoparticles are exactly, whether it be plastic-based or whatever they are, the things that are anchoring in people's lungs and causing problems, right?
Right. Well,
I find that fascinating, right? Like,
to seed rain, right? You need a nucleus of some sort to start the rain, whether it be silver nitrate or whatever. It could be a nanoplastic. It could be whatever.
They negatively charge it. They negatively charge the ion, so it sucks the water to it, man.
Right, exactly. I mean, even natural rain, that's how it happens. It's just dust in the atmosphere that collects the water from the negative charge. But the artificial cloud seeding, what they're doing with it, is it a plastic? It could be, but there have even been reports, where I don't know if they just overdo it or there's just not enough moisture, but people have reported like rain that comes down and it's sticky and it's like slime,
Or the
and it like
snow
sticks
that
to your car and it ruins things.
The
You know,
snow that doesn't melt with a Bic lighter.
yeah, snow that doesn't melt.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
it's in our lungs.
That's like the name of a song or a novel. Isn't
Cocking
it? The
it
snow
out,
that
man.
doesn't melt. Yeah,
Try
I like
to cough
that.
it out, but I'm telling you, and the harder you cough it out, the more it sticks. And could that be engineered? Yeah, that could be engineered.
or not.
You know what I was thinking? You know how last night, I mean, before we go, because we only got a few minutes left, but I was thinking last night we were talking about those cable cars.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking like today, in the world today, if you were to design something like the cable car system for San Francisco, that you would have the ability at your fingertips, computers and all this shit, to design it so that you would know exactly how the cables had to be and how tight they had to be and how many strands of steel had to be in there and the tensile strength and all this shit. How in the fuck were they doing that back then? How does you trying to tell me someone invented the cable cars back then and fucking came up with that shit and it fucking just worked? They just put it in the ground one time and that was it? Come
I'm
on,
sure
man.
I'm sure if
they
they
found
had to
that
test it and test it and test it.
No, they found that shit. That shit was already there. They did not design that shit. I'm telling you. I'm a firm believer that most of the technology was doled out at the World's Fair to whoever had the money to step up, man.
I think that's a very plausible theory myself.
Yeah, I'm just saying, how could you
the
design
orphan
that?
trains, the Cabbage Patch Babies,
Right.
the technology of the day, like, did we really have that big of a technology explosion in 1910?
Dude, seriously,
You know?
even figuring out how much sail you would need on a mast and how tall the mast would have to be in order to catch enough wind to push a ship through the water. Even that. How the fuck would you figure out the how would you figure out how much sheet you needed, and then where was the company that was sewing all that shit together? Hey, Bob, I need some more sails for my boat. Okay, well, you don't just roll down to West Marine and go get them back then. You gotta weave that shit. And then how do you know how much to weave it and how many threads to put in it that it won't be destroyed on the first heavy gust of wind? It's bullshit, man. This shit.
Well, you think back to even to like these images of ancient times or biblical times, right? They talk about different types of cloth, whether it be silk or burlap or canvas or, all right. So now this is, 2,000-3,000 years ago, but they were already weaving fine silk and fine linen, and people already knew about Egyptian cotton.
Well, 6,000 years ago, right? 6,000 years ago, Sumeria, Hammurabi built, an alphabet and the laws and the civil society and legal system and a school system and all that stuff. It just sprung up literally overnight by our accounting. It in historical terms, this overnight.
I'm
right?
saying, think of
How's that possible? It's just not. It's not. It's not.
Think
If there's
how-
nothing and all of a sudden there's something. Right?
Yeah, we went from living in caves and suddenly we discovered fire, and then we invented the wheel, and boom, within 2 years, civilization is completely established.
No.
Like, does that make any sense?
No.
Well, complete with legal system. That's what I'm saying. Like legal system, laws, education system, like all the modern comforts we think of today that make society run. Hammurabi did that, right?
I'm just saying.
So how's that possible? Just one guy.
This is a
happened thousands of years ago.
perpetuation and a imagining of society again, because this shit was all here. No one. Do you know how far away you are from coming up with an idea to sailing on a boat across the ocean with a mast and a ship with all the people on it to do it and to be able to navigate from the stars? You think, how far away from that are you when you come up just with the idea of I think I've thought of this idea of propelling a vessel across the sea by using the wind. That's bullshit. Someone already thought that shit up way before we were here.
Well,
Someone just stumbled onto
You
it.
even talk about, Columbus discovering America in 1492. Well, not only what about the people who are here, but what about the Vikings that were here 1,000 years before that?
Exactly.
like everybody seems to discount that, right? The Vikings, around the turn of the millennium were already here.
How far away
That's why we have Norwegian maples here in the Northeast.
How far away are you from a 2-man boat with some sort of weird sail thing on it? How far is that from an actual giant ass ship that has to have hundreds of people building it and putting it together and all this, and then coming up with? I'm just saying, where?
Yeah, your little Long Island Sound sailboat is not the same thing as a transatlantic clipper.
No,
it's not.
I'm just saying, and the thing is like, if you had 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, who's making those sails, man?
With the Knights of Malta and the Knights Templar red crossing,
the
simple under white background flag, right there in plain view for everyone. Of course, it's ridiculous.
Where's the machines?
because Knights Templar already, that's where they fled to. When 1308 or 1307, whichever it was, when they fled because of King Philip of France and the coordination did with the Vatican at the time to make them illegal. And they formed Freemasons and went to Europe and started Freemasonry in Scotland. The rest of them went to America. They went to America, right? And why? Because they already knew it was there. They already knew it was there, right? Like they had a place to go, and that's the whole thing. Like that. So it's not 1492. It's at least 1308, right?
Man,
actually, it was more like 900.
It might have been. No. I'm saying they already knew the place was there. There's people there waiting for them. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, 500 years before Columbus, right? And that's the other thing. Everybody, Columbus is an Italian. Columbus wasn't Italian. He was Jewish. And the reason he left Spain with all those people on the boats is because they were Jews and the Inquisition was starting. That's why they got out of Dodge.
Well,
so
I think Christopher Columbus,
like the whole story is just a sham. But the point being that if they knew the continent was here and they knew how to sail across the ocean at that time, like, why make up this story about this guy, this Italian guy exiled from Spain with the Queen's blessing?
Because Christopher Columbus was a corporation. It wasn't one guy. It was a whole.
We'll get into the whole idea of the goddess Columbia for another show, man. It's a topic.
Maybe Friday night.
Friday night.
All right, we got to go. Freeworld.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning for Wake and Bake, myself, and Rock and Rio. We'll see you then. Thanks for being here. Say goodnight, you guys. We got to go.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hey now, hey.